But that has that changed significantly. It started to change anyway, but during COVID, chambers really became a lifeline for many of the small businesses. And it was my job specifically to make sure that the chambers of commerce had the most up-to-date information regarding federal programs, state programs, county programs, grants, webinars to help. But whatever it was, we had sent out a survey across the county. We got about 800 responses, and we have formed pretty much what this office does based on the responses that we hear from people. We have some wonderful chamber directors and members on this call with us right now. So I'll let them share their experiences, but I have seen the chambers really be a force of nature in helping businesses get what they need. And when you operate a small business, you're kind of in your own little world. And it's very difficult to get all the information that you need and run your business and do what you need to do. So the chamber really helps the business owners to get what they need, and to also meet other business owners, and chamber members tend to support other chamber members. So I personally was frustrated that there wasn't anything in Greenburgh, as I was sending out countless emails every day for 2 years about what was going on. And so I'm very happy to see something like this get started, and I'm here to help in any way that I can.
That's great. Would you have like any advice? Greenburgh's a large community, and you have East Harsdale Avenue, you have Central Avenue, 119 Sawmill River Road. I'm talking about the unincorporated Greenburgh. Do you think that there should just be a greater chamber, or should we start with a larger group, or do you think we should start with something more localized where we have, say, an East Harsdale Avenue chamber that would work with a larger one?
Yeah, I mean, in my personal opinion, I think that trying to get a chamber together is kind of like sending out invitations to a wedding. So you're going to send out a whole bunch, and then you know that there's going to be people that aren't going to respond and people that aren't going to show up. And so I think you have a great opportunity with all the diversity that you have in Greenburgh of trying to reach out. That being said, it's going to take some, you got to hit the streets. You're going to have to knock on doors. And you're going to have to send out letters, and you're going to have to make sure that the communication from the town actually gets to the business owners and not just the residents, because they may not be the same people. So I would start as big as you can, and then you'll see how it all washes out. It could just self-select.
Great. I know Marsha Gordon said she had to leave early, so maybe you could get Marsha Gordon's the head of the Business Council of Westchester.
Thank you. So thanks, Paul, and hi, Susan. And I see a lot of other familiar faces here. I've not only been in the Chamber of Commerce world for a long, long, long time, but I also live in Greenburgh, and I'm a Greenburgh resident. I live in Winding Ridge, right on Old Tarrytown Road, right near the Greenburgh Town Hall. So I have a vested interest here. So, there are a couple of things to think about here. One, Chamber of Commerce, if you incorporate, it's a 501c6 organization, and which is not part of government. It's a separate not-for-profit organization. It's not an organization. It's not a charity. So it's not like people can contribute to it and deduct it as a charitable contribution. It could be a marketing expense, a business expense, but you're really talking about how to get it going. And so it could be a chamber, it could be a downtown merchants association. There are different ways to look at it. And yes, Paul, it's not unusual for government to help get things started, but basically most chambers of commerce, they're business organizations, business and professional organizations. It doesn't only have to be storefronts. It could be people that, have home-based businesses that can have, we don't have any store. We're the Business Council of Westchester, but our DBA, frankly, is the County Chamber of Commerce. So we have a lot of people that provide services as well. So I think it's helpful to, to kind of get the legalities of what a chamber of commerce really is. You have to have a board, you have to have, people that are running it, and then what you really want to accomplish. And if it's connecting people, that's great. And if it's advocacy, it's great. And if it's education, it's great. But I would start with something kind of smaller, and it doesn't mean that you can't open it up to everybody, but you really have to figure out what your mission is and what you really want to accomplish. And there are resources out there. There's a Chamber Alliance of New York State. Certainly, we can be a resource for you to really understand what it is, what is your goal in putting together this chamber or or Merchants Association. Merchants Association is a little bit different, right? So that might be, and a chamber can do the same thing, things like sidewalk sales or beautifying Main Street. So you really have to decide where you want to go with this. But if it's, as I'm assuming, Paul, and maybe I shouldn't, if it's really about bringing businesses together and have businesses network with each other and create a sense of a business community in Greenburgh, I think you have to have somebody to kind of lead it, and to start off as a volunteer organization. But I would definitely say you have to develop a due structure. It should be something that businesses are invested in, for them to have the privilege of being referred as a business, as a Greenburgh business. So I guess I'm coming, what chambers are not, they're not civic organizations. They're not Rotaries, they're not service clubs. They might sometimes do some of those same things, but it really is about building the economy of a certain area.
That's great. I'm sort of wondering.
Helping here, am I like everybody wants me off and I'll run away?
I'm sort of wondering if maybe we could go around, the Zoom room and just people could introduce themselves, because this way we'll have an idea, who's involved and maybe what your visions are. Would that make any sense?
Sure.
And
I can be on like 4:20, Paul, and then I'm going to hop off. I don't want people to think I'm rude.
Okay.
But I just want you to know the Business Council of Westchester, which frankly is the county's does business as the county's chamber, is, we're here to assist, we have great relationships with the smaller chambers. You could look at many models like New Rochelle Chamber, which is professionally driven, Hudson Valley Gateway Chamber. I see the Sleepy Hollow Chamber is on it. We've done great things in Sleepy Hollow over the years, and I would just look at some of the models of the community chambers of commerce and how they're structured and what the boards are and how they run.
Great. And one of the thoughts that I had before we introduce people is maybe we could, starting in January, we could have a program where every month we have something that's valuable to businesses. So we could talk about, for example, the Retired Senior Volunteer Corps that provides help to businesses that are struggling, or we could have some students talk about helping with social media skills, where they could be doing social media for businesses. So we could provide information about loans, grants, programs that could help each of the businesses. And then, we could maybe quarterly, I was thinking maybe have a meeting at different restaurants. That could be a nice networking. So there's just a few things, but I don't want to do all the talking. So,
Right. And I see people on here that I know, like Balone and Laura and others, who frankly, they're, not every business that's there is going to needs a lot of help, and there are very successful businesses here as well. I'm sure, I know there are others, but I think you kind of have to have a certain level of, help for some, or send people. The important thing is to know the resources that there are in Westchester. There are lots of resources.
That's great. So we'll start. I see Christina. You want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Hi, everyone. So can everyone hear me?
Yep.
Okay, great. My name is Christina Knies, and I am the president of Pelham Chamber of Commerce. Sherry had so graciously mentioned my name when Krista and Sherry were talking, so I was invited onto this call. I was asked to give a little bit of background on what I'm doing in Pelham, so I don't know if you want me to do that now or
That'd be
wait.
good. Yeah.
Now? Okay, great. I was actually taking notes because I have a few comments on what was just talked about from my perspective. So just a really fast how I got here. I am a marketing person. I've grown up in the media industry, working on NBC, Discovery, Sundance Channel. In 2020, when the pandemic hit, I was consulting for agencies and realized that I had a really good skill set that could probably help local businesses. Well, my work was slowing down on the agency side. So I went door to door asking businesses if they needed websites, help with social, figuring out a way to pivot. I did a lot of ideation work. So I asked if businesses needed help figuring out new revenue streams, fund campaigns. And so started taking on a lot of different initiatives. We delivered Easter baskets that were a combination of all the stores in town. We came up with ways of delivering food to first responders through our restaurants with donations from the community. So with all this work, I was asked to step in and take over the chamber that had been pretty much on life support for probably about 10 years. Is that fair, Sherry? And so our chamber has a lot of challenges. We've been out of status for almost 10 years. The last two presidents, maybe three presidents, didn't renew our status. So that's extremely problematic. So I've been working with the IRS and the Senate and our councilman to get back on track. And I'm happy to report after 2 years, I have about 2 more months before we're probably on track. We have never filed taxes. So immediately when I started creating like a ledger that I would do for my S Corp and starting to put us on sort of some level of perimeters as best as I knew, because I'm not a local business. And I was just, brought in to sort of help. And I wanted to do things in a structured way. So I did a lot of research on my own. 2 years later, I went from 0 members to 126 members. We charge $125 yearly. I built our website by myself. On our website, you can actually renew your membership. Highly recommend that when you're building your chamber, because it makes it very easy for people to do that turnkey. I also highly recommend making sure that it's a reoccurring charge, because people will more likely than not agree to be charged year over year versus having to chase down checks. Don't waste your time doing that. That's a lot of manpower. I've been doing this by myself. We execute townwide events. We do social events. I do a lot of stuff I know somebody had mentioned working with like civics groups. To be honest, I have found a lot of strength and power in working with the civics groups in my town. It just allows me as one person to do bigger and better. I also approach our business community in a way that connects the businesses and youth and our community. So I look at it in a way of, if I can do really good things for our community and help solve problems, it elevates our local businesses, and it reminds people that, Amazon and Target don't look at ways to make your community better, but our local businesses do. For instance, right now we're working on the fact that we have 40 families that can't feed their families in Pelham. And so I've been riffing with a bunch of people in town today, with civics, with Junior League, with Pelham Together, to figure out how we could come up with some sort of campaign through the restaurants where anything that's left over at the end of the day can potentially be delivered to, a said sharing fridge. If we can do sort of a local roundup where if you're eating out at a local business, maybe your bill is like $19.50, you round it to 20, that's 50 cents that can go towards a pool of money for our community. So you get the sense, like my vision is the more we connect everybody and the more we feel like we're in this together, the more all boats rise and the more people find value in going to our local shops. I do things like, and feel free to look at our social page. I do things like fall in love with Pelham. So right now I do a daily highlight of businesses. Each day a business gets a highlight and I talk about why that business is a reason to fall in love with Pelham. This immediately drives at least 10 more members every year because people want to be highlighted in this sort of love fest about Pelham. It's a really strategic way of doing things. Also in March, I do the same thing for International Women's Day because we have 75% of our membership base that are women. So there's a lot of different tactics that I sort of
Great. Yeah, so maybe you could listen to some of the other suggestions also, and then at the end, after you could give us a thought after we hear from everybody, what you think would be a good next step, for say between now and January. So Christina, and let's see if we could keep each comments to maybe 2 minutes each, so we could hear from everybody. So Christina, we have another Christina.
Hi, I'm Dr. Christina Lyon. I am a new business in Greenburgh. We opened a Sterling Optical right next to TJ Maxx. Since then, my husband and I have always been involved in community, everything we've done. We have 5 children and giving back has always been a huge thing for us. So when I first met Paul Feiner, he came in and told us about, someone who had something stolen, an Uber driver out of his car, and kid needed a wheelchair and the guy didn't have money. So I said, let me see if I get him a wheelchair because the kid couldn't even eat without being upright in a wheelchair. So between our business and, my husband and I both volunteer for a local fire department, we raised the money for the wheelchair and got him the wheelchair within like 5 days, which was kind of rough. And we've done a little bit of interactions. We had a give back day where we gave away 100 free exams, eyeglasses and lenses to people who could not afford it through the town hall, the community center rather. And since then we've done other things like to give back. And I just wanted to be part of the community and find a way that we could kind of merge ideas and maybe give back. I ultimately would love to have some sort of organization that is like, Greenburgh Gives, and maybe each business or certain businesses that are involved in the Chamber of Commerce maybe gives back once a year or twice a year to whatever their expertise is. So I would give back $500 worth of glasses, and maybe people apply to the board and they say, hey, I need my brakes fixed or I need this fixed. We kind of meet and we say, okay, you're gonna donate this. We have someone we could connect you with, someone who's willing to give and someone who needs. And then maybe there's a sticker outside a local business that says, we support Greenburgh Gives, and we encourage the community to give back to those businesses because they're also helping the community. So that was something that I kind of had an idea about and, want to give back more to. We donate, people bring in their glasses and we donate them to, the local women's shelter and things like that. So anything, I've always kind of been involved in that. I have a business degree from Wharton, and I love any kind of organization that could do more for the community. So when Paul said, hey, let's go.
Right, and I know she's a fantastic organizer. So I feel that it's like guaranteed that this organization will be successful. Laura, do you have any thoughts, and could you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yes. So I am currently actually the president of the Sleepy Hollow Tarrytown Chamber of Commerce. So since Tarrytown is part of the town of Greenburgh, we were probably thinking, maybe referring some businesses to Tarrytown Chamber in that area. And this way, we could all, grow the chamber together. But, we could talk about that separately. I just wanted to be on here just to hear from others and what they're thinking. And if anybody has any questions they want for us, Stephanie Rodnick is also on. She's our executive director for the chamber, so she's here as well to give some information. But I just wanted to be online just to hear from everyone and what they're thinking. But, you know, we do have the Tarrytown Sleepy Hollow Chamber that's very successful. And if anybody wants to come to a meeting or network meeting or meet with us, we're happy to do that as well. But
That's great.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Trudy? Trudy, do you want to introduce yourself? And you're muted, I think.
Unmute. Hello.
Nice.
Sorry about that.
Great.
Hi, everyone. I'm Trudy Holland, and I've been actively involved in the town of Greenburgh. I've lived here for 40 years. And at the moment, I am president of the East Rumbrook Dog Park. I am on the board of Parks and Recreation. I am on the board of Ethics, so don't do anything bad. And I was on the board of COVID Angels when it was a wonderful community event that we helped the seniors at that time. I'm looking forward to being involved with any of my knowledge that I can help in any way. I am an event planner, so I'm really good at, like I say, organizing and putting things together and decorating, of course. And I'm here to help in any way I can. So I look forward to working with you. I like all the ideas that I've heard so far, and I will be learning as we go along.
Thanks. Joseph?
Hi, my name's Joe Metrovich. Moved into Hartsdale last 5 years from Bronxville. Had my house. I originally come from the Bronx. I had my business there, automotive. I'm in the automotive aftermarket. And I was involved in getting the bid started for Frog's Neck.
Yes, sir.
So again, my ideas come from merchants. I'm all for the merchants, and I think a lot can be done if we go through the merchants. Some ideas are maybe holiday light, and maybe special sales for the merchants, for the people, for the residents of the area, and advertising. I see we have some people on that can maybe do some local advertising, co-op advertising, maybe getting some money back for the local merchants if they can, depending on how they want to funnel it and use it. But again, I'm here to help in any way I can. I have some experience with it. I sold my business in 2000, so now I own some commercial properties, and that's what keeps me busy. And I still work full-time in the automotive aftermarket in Rockland County.
That's great. Steph Rodnick? Hi there.
Hi there. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Great. So I'm Stephanie Rodnick. I am the executive director of the Sleepy Hollow Tarrytown Chamber of Commerce. So our chamber is, I'd say, in the scale of sizes, like Hudson Valley and New Rochelle are probably a lot larger. Pelham, all respect, the river towns, a little bit smaller. We're in the middle. A lot of those smaller chambers don't have full-time or part-time employees. They are run strictly volunteer driven. So our chamber runs a little bit differently because I am a paid employee. I report to Laura and the board. We've grown our chamber immensely over the last few years. I agree with Christina. The chamber was a lifesaver during the pandemic. I worked almost full-time every day from home to make sure that our businesses had what they needed. Our chamber's been around 100 years or something, or 92 years, and not as this, but it included Irvington at one point. It was just Tarrytown, North Tarrytown. But we do have a lot of businesses that come to us from the Elmsford corridor 9A because there isn't a chamber, obviously, in Elmsford or the unincorporated part of Greenburgh. So we do see the need for it. I think there's a way to make sure that your businesses feel like they're part of the community, not just part of a chamber. That's super important. Our businesses give back similarly to all the other chambers, but it's not just about joining and paying your dues, right? We do network, we do events, we do a lot of things, but there is a lot of give back. So I think that's super important. Bylaws, which no one has really mentioned, we have a set of bylaws, we just redid them. They constantly have to be changed. There's policies, et cetera, that have to be updated. That's something that you probably want to look into before you even set a chamber, so to speak, so you know what you're operating with. If any questions along the way, like Laura said, feel free, any of the businesses, any of the trustees, anyone wants to come to a meeting. Our next meeting is this week. It's the last one of the year, so probably a January meeting is more appropriate. But our calendar's on our website. I could talk forever about our chamber, but I won't because there's so many great things. But if you have any questions, you know where to find us.
Great. Valen?
Hi, everyone. My name is Valen Nikci. I'm the owner of Link New York Realty and Bedlar Company Development. I'm also publisher of Bronx River Journal. I'm a vice president of Chamber of Commerce, Brunswick Chamber of Commerce, and a board member of Eastchester Tuckahoe Chamber and Mount Vernon Chamber of Commerce. Good to see you all. I'm so excited about this new journey, and I think Greenburgh is absolutely in need of a Chamber of Commerce. It is important how we do it from the beginning. Having a successful Chamber of Commerce, it's not easy, but it's doable. Absolutely, it's easy to create one, but having a successful one means that constantly having events, helping businesses, and helping people, having all the businesses involved. I did see the email, Paul, saying that looking to create multiple chambers instead of one. I strongly believe having a larger one is much better because you get all the forces and capacity and people in one instead of having multiple ones, because you spread out the people, you could create a confusion to the public there and see which chamber is where and which one belongs where. Also, social media is very important because each chamber, you want it to be a social media. So if we create multiple ones, that also can play against us. Networking events are very important. Income is very important. Income does not come only from member dues. Also, it comes from donations, grants that we're able to get in the future. But also, if people see that there are not networking events and no projects going on, they will come for a year, they'll sign up for a year, but then they'll leave. It's hard to come back. It's one of the I don't want to say issues, but difficulties we have as our chambers is like having people to volunteer as in committees and having people to volunteer as board members. So that's why it's very important to have one to start with and have multiple ones. I suggest we create the first step we do create, if you don't have one yet, a list of businesses. We'll have one networking event in person. This will be like informative to start it. You can have in East Hartsdale Avenue, where multiple businesses will come in. You will explain what this is for, and also they feel that they are part of the chamber from the beginning. You're not only becoming members who are getting member dues, but also they are part of something important to them. Anything else that you need, I'm here to help. Any questions you have, I'm here to help. I think this is amazing. As I said, it's great to have multiple people from different chambers bring in great information, and we can create one that will be very beneficial to the business community and to everyone else. And again, it is doable. I look forward to making it happen together.
Thank you. Charlie?
Hi, all. My name is Charlie Rice. I'm an independent insurance broker. I live in Greenburgh. I've actually attended a couple of meetings with Sherry from Dobbs and in I think it was Mount Pleasant, Sherry. I forget what town we were in. Since I live in Greenburgh, I'm interested for a number of reasons. Number one, for my own ability to get involved with the community and see what's going on in my own community. The other thing is to affect some networking. As an independent insurance person, I have several clients that live in Greenburgh. I'd like to get to know more about the local merchants that are available to them and the services and the goods that the local people provide. I'd like to be able to refer my clients to them. For instance, if there's damage to a house, if there's someone that provides construction or repair work or remediation work, or as Joe mentioned, like the automotive aftermarket, if someone has an automobile accident or has some damage and they need some automotive equipment, So it's basically a three-pronged approach, networking for myself to get to know the local merchants, to get myself involved in the community, and also to provide for my clients that live in Greenburgh to utilize the local business owners to, as we mentioned before, the rising tide will raise all the boats. So,
Great. Thank
Thank
you. Sanjay?
Yeah, hey, everybody. My name is Sanjay Madan, and Charlie, thank you for going first because you said pretty much what I was going to say, that number one, I'm a resident, a longtime resident. I've been in the community for about 26 years. My wife works for a local bank. She works for the TD Bank on Central Avenue. Both of us are heavily invested and we want to continue living in our current house. And we often talk about that, how it is so important for the local community and the local businesses to be strong. Especially she tells me that practically in her branch, all the growth that she sees comes from local businesses. But you can't help but notice if you're traveling down Central Avenue, especially between Scarsdale and Hartsdale, you see so many empty stores, and that breaks your heart. And I'm sort of a businessman at heart. I would like to see a stronger business community who, and also my wife and I and our family make a concerted effort whenever we are spending our money, whether we are going out or whether we are using any services, we try and sort of keep it in the community. So I have some experience with business, and I saw this opportunity. First of all, I was kind of surprised that Greenburgh lacked a chamber of commerce. So when I saw the email, I thought it'd be a great idea to try and get in on the ground floor and try and sort of help out in this effort in whatever way I can to help the town and help the organizers organize this, the Chamber of Commerce.
Terrific.
And yeah, and like Charlie, just one thing I'd like to say, networking for me, I think is going to be, I think it's going to be a benefit, just knowing people in the community, knowing the business in the community, that could promote my business as well. I'm like Charlie's is a insurance person. I'm a financial advisor at Morgan Stanley.
That is great. Thank you. Darren?
Just wanted to unmute. How are you, Paul? And hello to the other members I know. My name's Darren Gordon. I live in Edgemont. I've been there for 20 years. I've raised my 3 sons there. I've been a coach in Edgemont for 12 years in different sports, including Little League, lacrosse, and football. Now I am a commercial real estate agent. And as my life is changing, I have some more time. I'd like to donate some of that time to the town of Greenburgh. I also believe that a Chamber of Commerce would be a great addition to our area. I know Paul has always been a very pro-business person, and I'd like to support that effort by donating some time or seeing how I could help you.
Terrific. Thank you. Leslie? You're muted.
Paul, thank you so much for putting this together. This is a lot of information. My name is Leslie Davis. I've been a resident of Greenburgh for 27 years. But recently, I would say since my son is an adult, I've really started settling down here and getting involved in the community. I am the assistant chair for the Fairview Empowerment Group. It's a newly formed 501c3, and we're here just really trying to find out information and see how we can help Paul in this initiative and volunteer our services or work with him to make sure. My concern has been the fact that there are a lot of closed stores on 119 as well as Central Avenue. And I'd love to see this to bring this community to be more vibrant, as well as learn some of the businesses that are here so I don't have to go outside of my community.
That's great. Thank you. Sergey?
Hello. Hi, everyone. My name is Sergey Glazunov. I used to live in the area for a while before, but over the last few years, I was mostly out of the country in Ukraine, in particular, some returning resident. From my background perspective, I used to work in research and education, used to work in investment and finance for JP Morgan, worked at the gas production sector and still continue. Now I'm also involved in an initiative called Rebuilding Ukraine agency that we started this spring, basically devoted to the preparation of the projects and mostly US companies, those who are interested in investment in Ukraine after the war ends. I was happy to meet Paul Feiner back in May. Paul actually invited me and I was honored to participate in his radio show. So when I saw this announcement on the LinkedIn about the chamber, I was quite keen to get involved and help. In my life was involved in a couple of similar initiatives, building a couple of NGOs. One was the CFA Ukraine organization, where we just, the idea was to bring more standards that basically put together by CFA Institute of theirs into Ukraine investment profession. And here I can't agree more with what Marsha Gordon originally said, and it was repeated by other participants, that the key thing here is to really define the goals and objectives, and that would define and shape the form and how this chamber should be organized. So, for example, in the CFA Ukraine, it was more about bringing ethical and professional standards. It was about networking. It was about education. It was about professional events. The second organization that I was putting together is the Association for Gas Producers of Ukraine, and what there the objectives were different. It was pretty much about advocacy and doing lots of legislation and regulatory work to help the decision makers to basically shape and improve the sector. So I guess the key thing is to define what it's for. So not to impose any definitions, but for example, is it just to fill the areas that don't have chambers? Because know that there is Sleepy Hollow Tarrytown Chamber, there is a Riverside's town chamber, or this is something to basically expand the network and try to leverage on the existing organizations already, in addition to filling up the gaps that I must close. So, well, happy to help as much as I can.
Thank you. We have Mr. Renzo. You told me that you were in your car a while back. So if you're able to say hello.
Yes, how are you? Yes, my name is Salvatore Renzo. I am a financial advisor, wealth management here in Westchester. I have offices also in Manhattan, but I've been a wealth manager for about 2 decades, and I would really like to also get involved with the community, kind of give back. I am a businessman at heart. I've been a business owner for many years, started several businesses, but have a very large clientele in Greenburgh and Hartsdale. And like I said, I would really like the whole be able to network. If there's anything that I can do to help out, I would love to share my expertise, and really look forward to working with everybody and helping out in any way I can.
Great. And it's just Fairview Empowerment Group. I assume that's Johan. Oh.
Hey, Paul. Good afternoon.
Great.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Johan Snaggs. I'm the chairman of the Fairview Empowerment Group. Leslie mentioned that she is the vice chair. We're a newly formed 501c3, very interested in building empowerment in the financial arena, food justice arena, energy sustainability, and education. So being that we're building out this Chamber of Commerce, we're very interested in participating as well and being able to support the effort overall. The way Greenburgh is laid out, it's kind of like a large city. So I'm really glad to see other Chamber of Commerce is from some of the villages that are kind of interested and invested in this project overall. I agree with the gentleman that spoke earlier. I think having one large umbrella organization for the other Chamber of Commerce as they as we develop might be the best course of action. And I'm glad to be part of the effort.
Thank you. We have Ed Hamill.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Paul. I've been a resident of Greenburgh for 41 years and have participated in many different committees that have come through Greenburgh and through Hartsdale. I've been on the Greenburgh Human Rights Committee, the Safety Committee, as well as the Four Corners Committee. I have a practice of consulting company that I have with my wife. We operate out of Greenburgh, out of Hartsdale. Our consulting company is called the Hartsdale Group, and we are in international education. We do bilateral education between overseas and here in the United States. So with the activity that exists in Greenburgh, with the amount of energy that exists within all the town different events, we would like to be able to see a Chamber of Commerce that focuses on businesses in Hartsdale, Greenburgh, and the larger area as well. Thank you very much.
Terrific. And we have Ted Clement. Ted? Well, I guess.
Well, Ted's a student intern. I'm not sure if he was, he just kind of was here to help out on behalf of the town.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm on my phone right now, like for the Zoom, because I'm leaving my school right now, like as we speak. But I'm listening. So, wait, can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Can you guys hear me? All right.
Thanks, Ted.
Great. So, I think, the next step is, Garrett, Garrett or Krista, do you have any thoughts that you'd want to say before we go to the next steps?
Yeah, first off, I just want to thank everyone for joining today. As the meeting's been going on, I've taken a look at the couple of chamber websites and super impressive what I've seen there. And just real quick, just so everyone has a good sense of the town of Greenburgh, what I shared on the screen is our 18 square miles. It's the non-yellow, the non-gray. So everything you kind of see in white here. So we are a large community. Now, most of that is residential, but in this next map, and I'll zoom in right now, you can get a sense of the different corridors we have. So the colors on the map represent either commercial, industrial, or office. And, for those of us that know Greenburgh well, it's as you'd expect. But for those that don't, we have a major Central Avenue corridor. It spans over a mile, running from Yonkers up to the city of White Plains. We have a very distinct East Hartsdale Avenue train station downtown corridor here. We have our Route 119 mixed-use corridor, which runs from White Plains to the village of Elmsford, where the town library is. We have kind of an office sort of dominated corridor between Tarrytown and the village of Elmsford on 119. We have a lot of flex space along Route 9A in the town of Greenburgh. So a lot of flex office, warehousing, some commercial indeed. We're a growing community. We've got a lot of good new businesses coming in, but the overall gist that I agree with, the sentiment that I've heard here today is, let's empower our existing businesses. Just I think I've heard a lot of exciting ideas. I've been with the town since 2014. I worked on the town's comprehensive plan, and I work with the town board. We try and we're as proactive as possible to make sure that these mixed-use zoning districts have enough uses to minimize those vacancies. But having said that, I'm always all ears, and just appreciate everyone's input today.
Great. So my feeling is, I'd like to, Krista, do you have anything that you'd want to say? No. I'd like to.
I just want to chime in for 1 second because I have to leave to go to my next meeting. This was amazing. And Paul, I think you have enough energy here to create a board, which, as Marcia said, is really key. And Christina, will tell you that she's a great one-woman show, but it shouldn't be a one-woman show. And Stephanie's exactly right. The chambers, in my opinion, that are the most organized and able to take it up a notch are the ones that have a paid position. They have somebody there at least part-time to handle things. But I think you have enough people right here, even just in the Zoom, to get going with whiteboarding your vision for it and creating a board. So I'm available to everyone whenever you need me, but I just need to leave for my next meeting. So have a great night, everybody, and happy holidays.
So maybe, thank you, and thank you for joining us. It was very helpful. And I'm glad I sat next to you at a municipal officials event. I'm sort of wondering, as sort of a next step, maybe if you're interested in spending time and being part of like an organization, just focusing on the organizational structure, and maybe you could email me or my assistant, Krista, and then we could have a follow-up meeting and just come up with like a temporary, transitional, board. I spoke to Christina, who has helped me with a lot of, other initiatives. And she said she would be willing to help, help organize a lot of the day-to-day, operations. So then we could have a meeting and we could say, this individual is going to be involved in organizing a networking event. This individual is going to be involved in, organizing another, reaching out to other businesses. We need to get a list of all the businesses in Greenburgh and invite them to participate in this. And then, my feeling is once we get a little bit of a structure and an organization, then we could have some public events. I mean, does that make any sense as sort of a next effort? And, hopefully we could have a first event sometime in January. Christina? You're muted.
Yeah. So I think maybe we share information with this group first, and I agree with you, like monthly, but I think kind of and this is just my thinking, that we kind of think of what we want to do and what we want to be, before we start breaking people up into groups. But that's just my 2 cents. We see what our mission, what we want to do, and how we want to get the information out. And then like I said to you yesterday on the phone call, I think the meeting once a month Cortland had, that I was part of, Cortland Manor had like a town, meeting in a Chamber of Commerce, and it was really a great networking. If that's what we're looking to do, I think if these people here are interested, I think maybe we start with these people, and maybe everyone reaches out to a few of their local businesses, and maybe we could, say, hey, we're going to have another Zoom meeting in January. Are you interested? Get on board. Maybe we spread it out that way and then see where we want to go. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Well, you want to
Can I suggest that we all convene? It seems like I agree. We have enough brain trust here that we all convene and talk about the structure first before we invite the larger collective community. I think it makes sense to do outreach, but we need to be able to demonstrate, in my opinion, what we're working towards before it gets to that point, so it doesn't get too confusing.
Right. Christina, would you be willing to, help, since you have a business, a Wharton background, which, I don't have, would you be
in trouble a lot.
Would you be willing to help us come up with like a proposed like structure, and, we have the lists, and this way, I sort of feel that, I think that that would give us the best chance of making this successful.
So how do you guys feel about everyone who's on this? Maybe we get a group email together and think, what direction we want to go in as far as what we want to do. Like we said, networking might be the first idea, and then education and everything else could come after that. I think maybe that would be a good idea. And then we kind of can have a compilation of everybody's information to kind of streamline it. And then when we reconvene, like, a group email, we could discuss little blurbs, of maybe what we're interested in, and then that group email, we could reconvene in January and say, all right, this is what we have, this is what was kind of the consensus where everyone wants to go, and then we could narrow it down. I think we have to cast a big net first before we get into the weeds, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, I've heard from many people that the first step is to get a mission statement.
Right.
And-
And
and-
that's what I was saying to Paul yesterday. We
Yeah.
need to know what we're doing before we assign or have
Right.
other people doing things. So
It's
does
a
that make?
process. Yeah.
So Paul, is somebody, I know Garrett was taking everybody's email. Can we maybe send a group email out with everyone's contact information? And
Yeah.
maybe we could just put some bullets on what we think the Chamber of Commerce should be. And then I'm happy to reconvene and, we could discuss, this is what we've all said. There's some commonalities, there's maybe some, other stray thoughts, and we could discuss that again. Does that work?
I think that's a good idea.
I think it's also important to have, a time that we typically meet and maybe not have it be so random, like, the first Wednesday at 12 o'clock of the month or something along those lines. So it's kind of like a date, if you will.
That's a good idea.
So
So
Garrett,
Paul, I'll work with Krista. She has everyone's email, and definitely, people have put emails in the chat, so that's great and appreciated. Yeah, we will do that, and we will work towards, having a next smaller meeting with those that are, are Greenburgh centric. And then we'll, with a goal towards getting a regular, I guess, monthly meeting or something like that as we
I think-
progress.
Yeah, I think this is going to be really successful. I'm, really excited about it. And I think that, there's a lot of new businesses that have been coming to the town. In fact, when I'm driving on Central Avenue, I've just been noticing, and I'm not sure if I'm just an optimist. I'm just looking at the new businesses, and maybe I need glasses from you, Christina.
I was just gonna say, where are your glasses? You look like you're squinting.
Yeah, I know. I have my glasses right over here. But the thing is, it seems like there's a lot more new businesses coming into Greenburgh, and it seems like there's fewer vacancies. And I think that with the new businesses, there's an opportunity to get them early when they're excited about being part of the town, involving them, and then they could spread the word that Greenburgh is a business friendly community, and they could spread the word to other new businesses to join. And I think from there we could have a really fantastic chamber and fill up all the other vacancies. But yesterday I was driving on Central Avenue and I was really excited because I'm just seeing a lot of activity. Darren, do you think I'm exaggerating? Does it seem that, do you feel that?
No, I think you're absolutely correct, Paul. Some of the smaller spaces have gotten filled up, but what people notice are some of the bigger spaces that are much more difficult to fill up. And so if you talk about the California Pizza Kitchen, which is waiting to be built out and waiting for their approvals, that's a big space. Babies R Us is a very big space that's been empty for a long time. The pizza store next to that, but in the shopping centers, they're all full. So the shopping centers between Hartsdale and Scarsdale, most of those are all filled up. And as well for Ardsley and some of the other towns. A lot of the smaller deals between 1,000 and 2,000 square feet have been done in the last 2 years.
Yeah, and I just noticed on East Hartsdale Avenue, just over the weekend, I was riding my bicycle and I saw that the abandoned bank now they're doing construction and they're doing work there. So I just feel that it's exciting. A year ago I saw all these vacancies and now I'm seeing less and less. So that's why I really think Greenburgh is really a great place for businesses, and with this group we can make it even better.
So is it safe to say the second Monday of the month at this time works? Can we get a standing kind of thing, or?
Joe, what? Joe, you rate, that's yes? Okay,
So we're gonna, just to reiterate, we're gonna get a list together. And then I'm happy to help if we want to send that email blast out with everyone's information on it. Maybe everyone could just put under their name when they answer, like, Hartsdale Sterling Optical, or, real estate. I'm the best commercial real estate salesman. Or something like that. And then we could just put, maybe a couple bullets of what we think we want to do. And we could send it out to everyone. I'm happy to compile it, put in a spreadsheet, whatever you want. And then maybe we could reconvene the second Monday in January, which would actually be the 9th. Does that work at the same time?
And any chances, any flexibility in the time? I'm okay with the dates overall, but if we could make it just after 5 o'clock, that would be ideal.
After 5 o'clock. I don't know if most people are traveling or anything.
If I'm the exception, I'll do my best to make it, but just throwing it out there.
I'm sorry, I missed it. What, after 5 p.m.?
Yeah, around 5 p.m. would work for me.
Would earlier work better for you?
Earlier could work as well.
I think based on my experience with Chamber of Commerce's, either early in the morning or late in the evening was best with majority of people. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm just thinking people are closing, right? At the end of the day, sometimes people are finishing their day at 5. Would 12 o'clock, just by a show of hands, would 12 o'clock work for everybody?
That works for me.
Yeah, good try. We'll try. Why don't we try it and see what happens?
Yeah,
I think, Valen's right. I'd like to agree with him, because if we're all business people working during working hours,
right.
this is kind of in addition to. So I understand what the fellow's saying from empowerment. I'm sorry, I forgot your name. But maybe there's some other common ground, like later in the evening or something. Early on a Monday morning probably wouldn't work.
Do you want to
think
do
it-
6:30, 6:37 for an hour? Is
I
evening
think
bad?
6:37 or 6 to 7 or 7 to 8 works for most of the people, or 8 to 9 in the morning. That's based on my experience with business owners. I'm not sure about rest of the people here, but yeah, we have moved
Yeah,
meetings
most of-
around in the past, and then we came to a conclusion that either early in the morning or later at night was better.
And for me, middle of the day, anything can sort of happen once I get into my day. So
Yeah, so around 6 o'clock then we could shoot for.
Okay.
Well,
I'm flexible, so I need to know what is more important for the working people. So I could do 6 or 7, whatever works. Most of my meetings are in the evening.
how about we do this in the group email? We'll give 3 times. We'll say maybe 8:30 in the morning, 12 noon, or 6 o'clock. And maybe it's not gonna, look, we all do different things. So,
Christina,
yeah.
let's decide here. If you put a group email, it's gonna get so
Yeah,
messy,
it'll
like
make
people
us
return.
crazy,
It's
yeah.
gonna go crazy.
All right, fair enough.
I would also stay away from first thing on Monday morning, because this is
Disaster time, yeah.
not
Disaster
everybody's
time.
primary source of income.
Yeah. Okay.
what if you tried 6 p.m.
On
for the
Monday?
next meeting? And then if it doesn't work, then we could always change it, the following month.
So 6 p.m. January 9th, and in the meantime, Garrett or whomever will send out a group email, and we'll just kind of introduce ourselves briefly with where we work, and maybe 3 bullets in the direction that we want to take the Chamber of Commerce. Nothing, no diatribes or anything like that, and I'll put that together for the next meeting.
Perfect.
One question, on that email, will that be able to send or invite other people that maybe haven't made it here to this first meeting?
We could
Would
do
you
that.
want that to be something that you can send out to other businesses or other people that may have interest?
What's your feeling? I think that.
We want to get a little organized first before we, like how we want to send that information out.
Yeah, I would agree that I think we should, we have
I
plenty
just
of
don't know how many
individuals right
people
now that
maybe
are
know that we were
interested.
having this meeting.
But that they
Maybe
missed
there
the
was a
meeting?
larger population that could also add value. I don't know. I was just,
See, like I'm thinking that, like I was just thinking today, Enrico's on East Hartsdale Avenue. He, has contacted me, and I think the owner would probably be interested in joining a chamber because they want to be involved. I could think Pastina's on on Central Avenue. They're like a restaurant that's really very involved in the community. Tina, the owner, knows a lot of people. So I could see people who we really haven't, involved yet, being interested in playing a really major role in a future Chamber of Commerce.
So why don't we do what we were originally doing, but invite those other people to join us on the 9th at 6 o'clock? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah,
This is great.
We're gonna meet at 6 o'clock. We're still gonna send out the emails to the group where we work and maybe 3 bullets, what we want to do. And then on January 9th, maybe I don't know who they're reaching out to, Paul, if it's your office, if they want to join, we could tell them to reach out to your office, and then on the subsequent, Zoom, they could be part of it.
Great. And then meanwhile, Garrett, you'll try getting the list of all the updated businesses.
Yeah, we're steadily compiling a list of all our businesses.
Great.
Paul, when are we thinking to meet in person with businesses?
This meeting isn't in person, but we'll have, after that, we'll have meetings in person, right?
Okay.
Does that make any sense?
Yeah, at some
Makes
point, but I
sense,
think Zoom for the start, is gonna, be our immediate plan.
Right. Because this is really now just, the initial is just structure rather than actually setting up, networking meetings and programs. This is great. I really appreciate it. We're only 4 minutes behind schedule. So that's unusual in government, right?
Wait, but not really, because we didn't have an end time that I know of.
I said it would be an
I
hour.
said 1 hour.
Oh, okay, all right.
So I really
right.
appreciate everybody's participation, and I'm really excited about this. And I think it's going to be, a fantastic initiative, and we're going to make it successful. So thank you.
Thank you,
Bye,
everybody.
everyone. Happy holidays.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Thanks.
Thanks, everyone. Appreciate it.